has always sought for. He sought enlightenment. And as a Catholic, he sought enlightenment in a particular way, and as a Buddhist, he sought enlightenment in another way. And as a human being, he struggled. It's no secret that the man drank himself to death. And it is a matter of discussion whether or not it was intentional, because he really punished himself. And I think that he felt this greatness, and he certainly embodied it, but he felt small, I think, throughout his life. In the book Big Sur, he was sort of crumbling as a person. He was famous now, and he didn't want to be famous. He wanted to spread the word, but he didn't want to have personal fame. And in Big Sur, he had become bigger than he wanted to be, and he just wanted silence, and people kept coming to him and putting pressures on him that he didn't quite want. This is a letter he wrote around that time that he wrote Big Sur to Lawrence Ferlinghetti, whose cabin he stayed at during the time of Big Sur. And he has a lot of, I think, very funny nicknames for Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Letter to Lawrence Ferlinghetti, July 8th, 1960, from Northport. Dear Lawrence, Larry, Furling, Smiler, Oopsie, Poopsie, Poop Shack. They were good friends. Okay, I'll be out there in time for July 22. I can guess that you can guess why I don't want to go to Europe now, because I'm at the end of my nerves, especially now with Subterranean's movie opening in New York with big reviews, and Tristessa out at the same time, people starting to ring the doorbell for no good fucking reason in the human world. In Paris with Corso, it would be McDougal Street all over again in 2 hours' time from arrival at Le Havre, as you know. What I need now is rest, is sleeping in my bag under the stars again, is quiet meditative cookings of supper, reading by oil lamps, singing, sitting by beach with notebook and occasional wine. But seriously, the other night I knew I was headed for a genuine, my first real mental breakdown if I didn't get away from everybody for at least 2 months. This includes even Lois, who is sweet, even Alan, who is coming in 2 weeks. I would like to spend a summer in that cabin, sleeping outdoors, visited only by you, and on the occasions when anyway we kill two birds with one stone by finishing the Book of Dreams manuscript. Also, I would welcome your visits because lonely, and yet welcome them because you would keep my presence there a secret. This is no idle talk on my part. This can save my life, at least my sanity, as well as maybe I might write a book during those 2 months in Bixby Canyon. God knows there's enough to write about. My trouble is that my name is so fucking used everywhere, people think they should merely see me and that's all they need. Not read the books, nothing. Not ask my opinion about letters, oh no, just see me. Some write and say they want to touch me, which makes me shudder, and you too, I'm sure. It'll all blow over someday, and I'll be like old Bob Frost with my woods and can write. But I refuse to be taken even now. I refuse to be fucked up and never did like being fucked up by what others want. And I wanted to tell you, when your letter came offering me that cabin for a few months, I felt like it was what I was waiting for. Just the night before, I had despaired in nightmares, and I said, oh my God, I need outside help now, and you sent it. Until the 22nd, adios, Jack. Lipman.
Hello, beatniks and beatnik-nivers. I'm going to read a passage from Lonesome Traveler. It's a very important copy. This is the British edition, and I liberated it from the library in Bordeaux in 1968. I couldn't take it back because the revolution had happened and he burned the library.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. The other book I got was an interesting Henry Miller book, very rare. And now these. It's a favorite passage of mine from Mexico Fellaheen, when he was visiting there on one of the trips. The earth is an Indian thing. I squatted on it, rolled thick sticks of marijuana on sod floors of stick huts, not far from Mazatlan, near the opium center of the world, and we sprinkled opium in our master joints. We had black heels. We talked about revolution. The host was of the opinion the Indians originally owned North America just as well as South America. About time to come out and say, "La tierra esta la nuestra." The earth is ours. Which he did, clacking his tongue and with a hip sneer, hunching up his mad shoulders for us to see his doubt and mistrust of anyone understanding what he meant. But I was there and understood quite well. In the corner, an Indian woman, 18, sat partly behind the table, her face in the shadows of the candle glow. She was watching us, high either on O or herself as wife of a man who in the morning went out in the yard with a spear and split sticks on the ground, idly, languidly throwing it ground down, half turning to gesture and say something to his partner. Not far away, the drowsy hum of Fellahin village at noon. The sea, warm, the tropical Pacific of Cancer. Spine-ribbed mountains all the way from Calexico and Shasta and Modoc and Columbia River Pasco viewing sat rump behind the plain upon which this coast was laid. A 1,000-mile dirt road led there. Quiet buses, 1931, thin, high-style, goofy with old-fashioned clutch handles leading to floor holes, old side benches for seats, turned around, solid wood, bouncing in interminable dust down past the Navajoas, Margaritas, and general pig desert dry huts of Dr. Pepper and Pig's Eye on tortilla half-burned. Tortured road led to this, the capital of the world kingdom of opium. Ah, Jesus. I looked at my host. On the sod floor, in a corner, snored a soldier of the Mexican army. It was a revolution. The Indian was mad. La tierra esta la nuestra.
Joel?
Beautiful job, Adrian.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really nice. Let's hear it for Adrian. Did this show for how many years, Nick?
Let's start at 84.
84. So count them up.
35.
35.
So it evolves, it changes, obviously, annually. And yeah, thank you for bringing it to the fore tonight and doing a great job of headlining it. During the summer, as most of you know, Cindy and I are up in Maine, and on Saturday night on the second and fourth Tuesday, excuse me, on Saturday night of the second and fourth week of the month, there's a turkey supper at our little town hall. So with our friends Bo and Kathy, we went to it midsummer, and at the book exchange, there is a, buy one, leave one, take one, leave one. I look over and there is David Carradine's 2-cassette edition of On the Road, which I now have. And I never had thought of audiobooks of Jack, though there are a lot of them. I don't know how many of you have listened to the various ones that are out there, but when I posted it on the Facebook Kerouac group that I am part of, it started an interesting conversation, and everybody had their preferences, and the David Carradine edition was no one's preference. When we don't do this show again in the future, but we do, dig into the audiobooks, see what's out there. There's apparently a heck of a Kerouac library of spoken word stuff to augment what we've done for 35 years here. Yeah. By the way, if there's anyone who has a Warhol, I'm offering cash for your Warhol. I'm happy to pass this out. You can stick it on it's a decal. You can put it on your Warhol painting, and there's a number here that you can call in order to sell it. Jack would Jack would approve.
If not, go to Chicago right now because it opened yesterday. Wonderful event inside San Francisco. So get to Chicago.
From the scattered poems, just something short. Wee poem, angel smoke. Wee, not worth reading, little poem. You start off by sucking in milk. You end up by sucking in smoke. And you know what milk and smoke denote. Oh, Harpo. Of course, Jack loved Harpo Marx, and this is one of his paeans to Harpo. Oh, Harpo, when did you seem like an angel the last time and played the gray harp of gold? When did you steal the silverware and bug spray the guests? When did your brother find rain in the sunny courtyard? When did you chase the last blonde across the millionaire's lawn with a bait hook on a line protruding from your bicycle? Or when last you powder puffed your white flower face with fish barrel cover? Harpo, who was that lion I saw you with? How did you treat the midget and conk the giant? Harpo, in your recent nightclub appearance in New Orleans, were you old? Someone take that. Stick it on your folder.
Yes, I've been promoting this as the very last absolute swan song, never going to happen again, back to Jack.
No,
Right.
never.
In 2014, we had this big at the Dirty Bird, and I went, this is my last back to Jack. I'm not going to do it again, but I would like somebody to take the baton. And then the next year was like, well, no, it's not going to happen. I go, all right, I'll do another year. And I did that for about 5 years. I went, all right, this is it. This is the last one. Of course, not the last one, but so this is our. I have several batons ready to be passed on. Just looking for a so 50 years ago today, October 20th of 1969, Jack Kerouac wrote his last letter, and it means something to me because of that reason. This is the letter that Jack Kerouac wrote to Paul Blake Jr. from St. Petersburg, Florida. Dear little Paul, this is Uncle Jack. I've turned over my entire estate, real, personal, and mixed, to ma mère. And if she dies before me, it is then turned to you, and if I die thereafter, it all goes to you. This will is locked in a bank vault of the Citizens National Bank of St. Petersburg. I have a copy of the new will in the house just for reference. My St. Pete attorney who did this for me is Fred Bryson. I just want to leave my estate, which is really what it is, to someone directly connected with the last remaining drop of my direct bloodline, which is me sister, Carolyn, your mom, and not to leave a ding-blasted fucking goddamn thing to my wife's 100 Greek relatives. I also plan to divorce or have her marriage annulled to me, annulled. I'm just telling you the facts of how it is. My home here at 5169 10th Avenue North, St. Pete, is right next door to the little house you last saw me in, on the corner, where you remember you met that girl Cheryl. Corner of 52nd Street and 10th Avenue North. Now, the mayor wants to speak to you, but before she recites her portion of this letter to me, to type for you, reciting in French so the Greek wife will understand, I want you to know that if you're a crazy nut, you can do anything you want with my property if I kick the bucket, because we are of the same blood. And also, we're good buddies and have an association that went back to when you were 1 year old, if you recall. Don't let Big Paul, your pop, think he can get anything out of this, as he owes me $5,500. But he doesn't have to pay it. But it's for you, just for the bloodline of it. And now, Mamir dictating to me her words in French, which I put in English on this Yar typewriter. Mamir is saying,
The last letter I wrote you, I asked you for a reply, and you still haven't replied. I'm very proud of you, my little blonde boy, because you work for your country. If you are making progress in the airplanes, let me know, and be careful not to get hurt. Do you go out with girls? Do you have a steady? Send me a picture of you posing in an Eskimo suit. I want a picture of it. I want you to write and tell me what's going on with you in Alaska. If you want to take a vacation to come and warm yourself up in the sun, come on down. And if you have a car with you, we have a 2-car garage that's empty. I love you, and I'm lonely. I'd like to see you because it makes me renew the instincts I had with your mom.
Jack,
And Mamere.
Oh.
October 20th, 1969. So each year we have a communion of port wine, and I passed out little papers, and this is what I would love for us to all speak together.
And I will say this, we bought the port wine at Calvino's.
Oh, yeah?
So it's a step up from our usual.
Right.
Gotta have gills.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Right.
I just realized that. So you'll find a little slip of paper. And I would love to hear all of us together read this passage. May you
Use the diamond cutter of mercy.
To Jack Kerouac.
All's well.
All's well.
I'm the guard.
I am the guard.
All right, to everyone, history persists.
No, we have one last
Techniques
piece
of
that-
the world.
We have one last
quite
piece
done
that Johnny and Kerry and I are going to read together, and this is something we did last time to finish it, and it's sort of a traditional ending to the show as well. And
Stop the murder and the suicide.
Charlie Parker looked like Buddha. Charlie Parker, who recently died laughing at a juggler on the TV after weeks of strain and sickness, was called the perfect musician. And his expression on his face was as calm, beautiful, and profound as the image of Buddha represented in the East. The lidded eyes, the expression that says, all is well. This is what Charlie Parker said when he played, all is well. You had the feeling of early in the morning, like a hermit's joy, or like the perfect cry of some wild gang at a jam session.
Whale Pop. Charlie burst his lungs to reach the speed of what the speedsters wanted. And what they wanted was his eternal slowdown. A great musician and a great creator of forms that ultimately find expression in mores and what have you. Musically as important as Beethoven, yet not regarded as such at all. A genteel conductor of string orchestras in front of which he stood proud and calm like a leader of music in the great historic world night. And wailed his little saxophone, the alto, with piercing clear lament in perfect tune and shining harmony. Toot! As listeners reacted without showing it.
and began talking, and soon the whole joint is rocking and everybody talking, and Charlie Parker whistling them on to the brink of eternity with his Irish St. Patrick patoodle stick. And like the holy piss we blop and we plop in the waters of slaughter, and white meat and die one after one in time. And how sweet a story it is when you hear Charlie Parker tell it, either on records or at sessions or at official bits in clubs.